Hi, welcome to the podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start conversation on Unit 10, Education and Social Mobility. And our topic is Social Mobility and Strategies of Educational Selection. Turner distinguishes between two modes of social ascent, sponsored mobility and context mobility. His analysis of modes of social ascent with their accompanying strategies of educational selection is a careful framework for studying education as a process of selection. Sponsored mobility refers to an education system in which elite recruits are chosen by the established elite or their agents. Elite status is assigned to the basis of some criteria of the supposed merit and cannot be acquired by any degree of efforts or strategy. Upward mobility is likely entry into a private club where each candidate must be sponsored by one or more of the members. Sponsored mobility is the characterized by the early selection, followed by a clear differentiation of those singled out from the rest, usually in separate institutions. The process that follows has the nature of a special preparation for elite status, including inculcation of special skills as also indoctrination, the code of behavior and the value system of the elite group. This is typical of cases where the system of elementary education for children of the poor is distinct from the system of education for the middle class. Contest mobility refers to a system in which the elite status is a reward in an open contest and is achieved by the aspirant's own efforts. In these circumstances, there would be open access to all institutions that are of equivalent status. Here, there is no sharp separation between the students taking particular courses and where there is relatively open access to institutions of higher education. Control over selection relies upon assessment, examination, and testing procedures. Contest mobility is like a race or other supporting event in which all the compete on equal terms for a limited number of prizes. Its chief characteristics is a fear of premature judgment, and not only is early selection avoided, but any open selection is as far as possible avoided altogether. Although in theory all those who complete the school leaving diploma are eligible for higher education, in practice the competition is so keen that the entire spectrum of higher education can be highly selective. The institutions themselves have their own entrance examinations and there are variations in standards despite theoretical equality of status. These modes of social ascents are based on ideas types using example drawn from British and America respectively over almost 30 years. Their application therefore rests on the kind of changes that have occurred within specific education systems. Another model that has attracted some attention is the one outlined by the Boudon, who explored the relationship between intelligence, scholastic attainment, social background, and aspirations. On the basis of his analysis, he proposes a two-tier theory of attainment based on primary effects of social background which are similar to intelligence and school achievement, and the secondary effect which apply when children of equal intelligence and achievement have to choose between different kinds of curricula. Black upper class students choose courses that lead to the same social status as their parents. Indeed, he maintains that a large degree of mobility takes place despite the bias of the education system in favor of the middle class and the fact that the hiring process gives the advantage to those who are more qualified. Given the competition that existed for places in the education system and the occupation system, however, there is no guarantee that the children from more privileged groups would be favored. Indeed, he showed how children of high status are demoted and low status children promoted. As a consequence, Borden's theory helps to explain why there is a degree of randomness in occupational attainment, why education does not seem to affect mobility, and why patterns of social accent appear to remain stable across generations. Here we want to close this conversation. Thank you so much for choosing this podcast.